Amalfi. These things can be so disconcerting because you well know what's on your mind. It's the distance between this meeting and that meeting. It's wondering if you can cut that distance by taking a cab and not taking the train. You're wondering if you can completely eradicate the distance by asking if it can be virtual. Can we do it virtual? Can it be an email? Can we summarize it? Can we do a Zoom? So you're thinking of all these things. And to have a word that is not at your forebrain, it's so disconcerting. Yet the word Amalfi came to me. And then 5 minutes later, when I'm still doing what I'm doing, the words Turks and Caicos came to me very clear. And all I had in my brain was randomly, I think that's where the rich people play, because I've heard these two before, and it's usually by lips that sip rich things. I think so. I think this is rich people things. Amalfi, Turks and Caicos. What does it mean? You just keep it in your mind and you move on. Far later, hear the word of the Lord. There will be a hazard off the Amalfi coast. Amalfi is it's a coastal area that is the playground of the rich. Absolutely. It's a playground of the rich in Italy. It's the place, Yah said, where money goes to rest and recover. So Yah says it's the place where money goes to rest and recover. And he says they will be facing a calamity soon. Now, it's a coastal area, so it might be a natural disaster or it might be something else entirely. But he just said there will be a hazard off the Amalfi coast. And then again, he said similar for Turks and Caicos. It is also a luxury retreat sort of island. Turks and Caicos is part of the Caribbean world. Okay, so it's located in the Caribbean, even though it's not directly with the knot of countries that we know, like Jamaica, Haiti. It's closer to DR, I think. But it's located in the Caribbean world, and it's known for world-class beach resorts. And especially people talk about the quality and the color of the water in Turks and Caicos. It's apparently very stunning. Yah says, Turks and Caicos, you will be facing a similar hazard, and you will turn back to my worship when you are grieved. Turks and Caicos will have a storm, a very big storm. And Yah says that after they have finished retrieving bodies from the water, they will be grieved. And then they're going to start thinking about coming back to the ever-living God. So if he says similar for Turks and Caicos, then it's perhaps not too far off to say that the same kind of hazard is what will happen off the Amalfi coast. Some kind of water disaster in which people will lose their lives and have to fish bodies from the water. And so Amalfi coast and Turks and Caicos, two playgrounds for the rich and famous, Yah is saying that they will face a hazard. And in the case of Turks and Caicos, I see that what God is saying is that the people in Turks and Caicos basically know him. So they're not a stranger. You might not find anybody in Italy who is particularly religious among the elite set, but definitely God is saying that Turks and Caicos is a place that knows him. And when they suffer something very painful, something very hazardous, and they basically have to go through rescue operations to get how many people will be lost and still floating in water, he says they will be grieved and they will turn back to worshiping him when they are grieved by that judgment.
And yeah, you can see that now the latest forecast does that basically Thursday night. Now that used to be Wednesday night. Okay, so they've pushed back the timing a little bit of this as far as development goes. But it will move over some warmer water. I'll show you that coming up here in just a little bit. But here's the question now. Where is this, okay? Because right now, what this circle means, it's the cone, right? But what it really is the Hurricane Center saying that they think that the center is going to be right there, okay? Now, they go back in time. They go back over the last 5 years and they look, how far off were we on our day 5 forecast? That's what this one is, right? They do it for day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. How far off were they? And then they average how far off they were, and they take 2/3 of that number, which I know is really kind of complicated, but then that's how they create the circle. So really what this is has nothing to do with about the weather inside that cone. The Hurricane Centers, they think it's right here at this spot, and then they know how much diameter they were off on average, 2/3 of it, and so they draw a circle around it. So literally, that's what it is. And then this circle is a little bit smaller. You can see it goes out to here. This one is a little bit smaller because in theory, and what has happened in life is that the error is actually lower the closer you are to where it is, right? But you can see from the size of these yellow circles that the error gets a little bit more each day you go out in time. And that just makes sense. It's just harder to forecast 5 days out. So that's what that circle is. So having said that, that means that the center could be down here, right? That's what we're talking about. The center can fall anywhere in these circles. So the center could be up here or it could be all the way down here. And I say that because the forecast models are now trending a little bit further to the south. And so is the Hurricane Center forecast, as a matter of fact. Like they were up in this range right up in here. Now they're down here as far as their forecast track. Okay, so that's the shift that we've seen. A little bit is happening here because this is going to dive a little bit more to the south. There's a big ridge of high pressure sitting up here right over top of this. And that's kind of pushing a little bit further to the south. And so instead of the storm kind of riding up here, it looks like it's going to dip a little bit. So it has to start a little bit further south, which will push everything a little bit further south. Now that's okay as long as it stays off the Lesser Antilles, right? The Northeast Islands there. And as long as that happens. If we get this curve, that's the important part. That is happening Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday time frame. Okay, now right now, if you just look at these global models, this is a good forecast.
Tropical Storm Erin is strengthening, and its ultimate path remains very uncertain. Look, I wish as we go farther in time that we are going to have more clarity today compared to yesterday with the ultimate track of Erin. Unfortunately, there's still a lot up into the air in regards to its potential track close to the Leeward Islands and eventually places like Turks and Caicos, the Bahamas, and even the United States East Coast. But I do these videos so you guys have as much understanding as possible as storms begin to move into your area. With this, I wanted to start this video with kind of some of the key messages that I'm going to be going over throughout the video. Now, the most likely track of Erin still is going to be north of the Leeward Islands and the Virgin Islands, but I'm telling you it's going to be close, and the newer model runs of the European model are not fantastic in regards to a very close shave to these areas. Then the questions are, how close does Erin approach the Turks and Caicos and the Southeast Bahamas and Bermuda? And